So the 5 men charged with the murder of Senzo Meyiwa back in the Pretoria High Court this morning. The lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, continues to testify on alleged confession statements made by accused number 2. This is Bongani Ntanzi. Linda Mnisi is following this one and joins us now live. Linda, good morning. I mean, we heard from Defence Attorney Charles Mnisi last week, and we knew it was going to happen, rubbishing the evidence by the lead investigator. I think he said it was something tantamount to nonsense, effectively. Yes. But the story continues with its twists and turns. Recap for us where we are, and are we going to move today into the deeper territories of his testimony?
Absolutely, Iman, and that particular engagement came as a result of Brigadier Bongani Gininda explaining one of the factors that he had to consider when looking at whether or not there were intruders in the Khumalo home. And he said when he looked at the DNA evidence that was given, or the DNA report that was in the docket, it indicated that all the people that were inside the house when the shooting happened or before the shooting happened were excluded in the hat that was recovered from the scene. And for him, it meant that somebody who came from outside should have left that particular hat. But he also says, despite the fact that the expert says the accused are excluded, there is a more deeper explanation in the manner in which the DNA is collected. And that is why he still maintains that, there was an intruder. And that's when Advocate Mnisi objected, saying that the lead investigator is not an expert and should not be drawing inferences in what the expert said. It was also backed up by Advocate Mshololo, but it escalated to him, calling it nonsensical. And at that point, that's when Brigadier Bongani Gininda asked for the court decorum to be maintained. But we continue with how he sort of, investigated this matter, the corroboration, the importance of corroborating what we now know as confession statements. He said initially he thought that there were only 2 intruders. After concluding that there were intruders, he thought that there were just 2 people that were involved. But Muzisibia's confession statement gave him more details, but he thought it couldn't have been because I thought there were 2 people. Then Bongani Ntanzi came, gave a confession statement, now giving names of people. And that's when he realized that the confession statement of accused number 2 was now corroborating what accused number 1 said, in the form of that he was standing outside, and other names like the name of Kelly Khumalo, which comes up for the second time in Bongani Ntanzi's confession statement. So he's talking about how he corroborated the evidence, looking at what was contained in the statement and what was contained in that statement. Obviously, there are allegations that these confession statements were obtained unlawfully. They were assaulted in order to depose them, but he's now denying that he was ever involved in coercing anybody to depose a confession statement.
Look, as we've said, the case has been about taking 2 steps forward, taking 2 steps back, or standing completely still. And this has been the cadence of proceedings. Are there likely to be some surprises? You mentioned Kelly Khumalo. We've mentioned Longwe Twala before as people who might have a case to answer for based on some of the evidence and testimony given. Yeah. Are you foreseeing those kinds of surprises in the days ahead? It's been 10 years. We're 4 days after the 10-year mark since Senzo Meyiwa was murdered.
Yeah. If you look at Brigadier Bongani Gininda's testimony, there's been a lot of new elements that we did not know in this particular case. And one that came yesterday was the fact that the name of accused number 4, that's Mthokoziseni Mapisa, had been on the initial investigators' radar during their tenure in this particular case.
Before it went cold.
Yeah, before it went cold and before it was transferred to the National Cold Case Unit. So the investigators in that particular case had his name, that written down in the diary, but all their follow-ups on his name came out negative. So he says now, during their investigations, his name came up again in the form of confessions.
Linda Mnisi, I don't know how you keep track of all this stuff, but I guess it's your job as a reporter to do that and keep it all straight for us. Thank you very much for the update. We'll be live in court on the channel as soon as that kicks off, and that expectation is that it will happen in the 10 o'clock hour as usual.